And there we go. This is something I wanted to show off because now Yuki has become an Angel Knight. Basically, to get an Angel Knight, you need to meet certain requirements. One, actually, if I could go in there correctly, you have to have the Archangel's Feather, which you get by dying and being revived. Next, you have to have a Strength of 89, an Intelligence of 81, an Agility of 88. You have to have 215 hit points and 66 magic points. You also have to be of the lawful alignment, and you have to be killed in battle for a random chance of turning into a Angel Knight. Now, I'm actually going to continue this and kill her again for a very specific reason, and I will display that when I actually get to it. For now, I'm going to arrange my troops to best protect, basically the very fragile knight, and somewhat fragile lesser diamonds. So, I'll see you in a moment when I'm ready to show off the next item on the agenda. Okay, and the next item on the agenda is using Elric here to bring back Yuki. Necromancy is a necessary spell for what I'm setting up here, and it is important to go over this before getting to the Snapdragons, which I will be getting to in this episode. So now we have Yuki, who's equipped with everything she was equipped with before, except for her spells, because they're auto-dequipped when she goes that way. But she's still lawful, so I'm going to start manipulating her So I'll be back when I'm ready for the next phase of this change. Well, I am sure you will notice that the setting has changed, and that is because of something that I don't particularly like in Tactics Ogre: The Knight of Lodis. Yes, it is not a perfect game. I love this game, but I do not believe it is perfect. Reincarnation, this scroll, you can only acquire it on Path B or through quest mode. It is what is often considered a B rank item, which means that you have to beat pretty much Betrayal Chronology or harder in order to get it. And what it does is it takes whoever uses it and removes the undead status. This is something that I believe was done much better in the Ogre battle games like Ogre Battle 64, Person of Lordly Caliber, because you could just go to a witch on a map and revive or turn any character back to a living status. However, this was important for the next step in the phase, and I will show you what that is in just a moment. It involves, again, killing poor Yuki here. And there is a reason for this. I am not doing this just to spite Yuki. She's about to become one of the most powerful characters in my army. I have equipped the Ring of the Undead, and she will be revived, transmigrated into the Liche class. And, like I said, there is a reason for this. And there is a reason involving Snapdragons, but Ripple's Emblem. Ripple's Emblem is basically the female version of Relix's Emblem, and I did put a description of it in my 3rd episode, I believe. But basically, by experiencing all life has to offer, you gain the ability to never have your mentality decrease. And actually, I want to show this off. Look at that physical defense. It is insane. I will have some better equipment on her later, but for now I'm going to beat this stage and then I'm going to go into showing off Snapdragons. So, pardon me for a moment. And this is the special Snapdragon episode that I've been promising. Greetings, travelers. Draco Breach reporting in finally after kind of going through a little bit of prep work with creating a Liche. And the reason being is because a Liche is part of the Snapdragon tour. Now, I am going to show you 3 Snapdragons at a time. The first 3 are going to be Mr. Test here. I just hired him specifically to show off something that I truly believe, and you'll find many, many, many people agree with me, especially if you search around the interwebs a little bit. Namely, that a level 1 Snapped will give you an incredibly powerful sword, even just at level 1, stronger than any sword that you can find in the game. So, let's continue this test. Basically, when you use Snapdragon, the poor victim raises the scroll over his head and is turned into an item. And the type of sword that you get is based on class and on element. Now, Soldier and Lich are 2 classes that I do not recommend turning into Snapdragons. The reason is because no ability, pretty useless ability, and very rare character. But fairies actually can be fairly good. And actually, before I snap Lubina, she has the dumbest emblem that you can possibly give any of your characters, called Dawn Quixote. And I'm sorry, I'm saying that wrong. I can't say it. I'm not even going to bother. Basically, it reduces your intelligence permanently by 10, and that's all it does. And you get it by attacking somebody and being counterattacked for 2/3 of your hit points. Avoid this emblem at all costs. Lubina comes pre-equipped with it, unfortunately. Now, fairies actually can be fairly good to use a... What am I doing? To use a Snapdragon scroll on, because they actually have insane agility combined with an ability on the sword called Luck, which changes your biorhythm so that you're more likely to be lucky. Anyway, I'll get a little bit more into that in a moment. I will actually show off these swords and what I mean by the ridiculous power of these things. I'll be back in a moment. Now let's take a look at those swords we just acquired. Now, Notos is the strongest sword that I've shown off so far, but the strongest sword in the game is considered Ambition at 68 physical. All Snapdragons have 85. So if we equip Ambition just for a good comparison, and we go down here, Test is the weakest sword I have, and it beats Ambition on everything except for agility. If we hit select here, we can find out that it gains 12 strength, 6 intelligence, and 4 agility. This is actually excellent, except you'll notice, of course, you get significantly better stats with Lobelia, Yuki, and Lubina. Yuki, being a Lich, will support adjacent undead, and I went right past that, so give me 1 second. Support adjacent undead, basically giving +1 to the mental gauge of all undead. If we remember, Lobelia, support adjacent allies. That's +1 mental gauge to all allies within 3 squares of the wielder. Lobelia is better in every way. Lubina, luck increases. Like I said, this affects the biorhythm, and I'm not exactly the biggest fan of adjusting biorhythm because it doesn't really affect the single player. It might have some effect if you're playing in multiplayer, if you're against certain characters. I would rather have the increased mental gauge that Angel Knights give. However, with the insane agility increase that fairies have, a fairy can make a character literally untouchable. And also you'll notice Lubina is the water element, Yuki is a bane element, Test is a wind element, and Lobelia is a holy element. So yes, that does affect the look of your swords. So next time I am going to get a fire element and a earth element to show off what they look like and go over a few other odds and ends. So pardon me, I will be right back. So I have Albric, Floris, and Kamui to show off my next round of Snapdragons. And there is I'm not going to show every single, class, because it's kind of pointless to show every single class. I'm only going to show the classes that have a special attribute, except for, of course, Test, because that was to show how even a level 1 character being snapped is better than any other weapon in the game. Really, it's absolutely true. And these three characters have these three classes actually have some interesting attributes when they're snapped, but as I'm going to explain, well, really the only one that you need to be worried about is Angel Knights, because I really believe they give the best possibilities. So, pardon me for a moment, I will exit the training and show what these swords do in one moment. Okay, first off, Albric the Priest. Fire swords actually look pretty cool, but like I said, I just prefer the effect of Angel Knights. Anyway, Albric here prevents instant death. Priests and high priests like Richter will prevent an instant death effect from instantly killing the character. Now this can be useful to prevent characters from dying, but at the same time there are other items for it, and I'd much rather snap an Angel Knight. You notice I keep going back to that. Floris, the Valkyrie, support adjacent male allies. Again, Angel Knight is better because it supports all allies. So there's that. And Kamui, interesting one. Instant death effect. Okay, so Albric, being the High Priest, when equipped to a character, will prevent the Swordmaster's instant death effect. Instant death can be interesting, and if you want a good high strength, high agility sword, that could be a recommendation. But I'm also of the mindset that increasing morale, i.e. an Angel Knight, is still arguably better. But this is a good choice. Honestly, I probably would put Swordmaster as the second best of the effects. So, again, pardon me for one moment, I will reset the entire thing, and we'll take a look at another set of special abilities. This is the next to final round, and actually the final round is only going to be one character. But this time we have the Beast Tamer. I'm sorry, Dragon Tamer. Wow, I don't know what I'm talking about right now. Dragoon, which I haven't actually shown off I don't know exactly why I don't, but I have never been all that fond of the Dragoon class. They have great strength gain, but in my opinion their agility is to be desired, leaves much to be desired, and I'd rather raise a good sword master. But that's entirely beside the point. There's also the new demi-human class, the Gorgon, and I really enjoy using the Gorgon. At least in multiplayer. Single player, I tend to not use it so much. They are easily countered, but they can be so fun to just mess with enemy teams with. But in a moment, I will actually show what their attributes are. Give me one moment. So, the Dragon Tamer gives you support adjacent dragons. Again, Angel Knight, support all allies, is a better attribute. The Dragoon increases your attack power versus dragons. This can be an interesting thing to use, actually, if there are dragons on the field. However, the instant death effect of the Swordmaster, in my opinion, is better because you're more likely to actually get use out of it. As far as the Gorgon goes, it prevents petrification. You have items like amulets that do that equally well. So I would pass this up. Anyway, there is one more class to show off. I will be back in a moment to show you exactly what that is. Honestly, everybody probably saw this coming. The last one is the Beast Tamer. So, we go to use Snapdragon. Now, all Snapdragon swords look the same as long as they are the same elements, so nothing much changes there. One thing that I will say is that if you use an Urn of Chaos or Tome of Discipline on a class whose element is determined by their class, such as a Liche or Angel Knight, you actually will change their element, the sword, while keeping the attribute. So you can make a Bane element Angel Knight to give to your Lich to really increase their magic. But for now, let me actually show off what the Dragon Tamer very obviously will do. So we go all the way down here. Whoa, my controller is not cooperating. And Alos, as a Beast Tamer, will support adjacent beasts. Again, Angel Knight supports all allies, not one particular type of ally. And that will be it for this episode. Next time, we will be heading towards the Angel's Headstone to take on the final stage of the game and start collecting the endings. I may in the future attempt a 25-hour run for ending A+, but I won't show the playthrough, I'll just show the ending once I can acquire it. With that though, this is Draco Breach reporting out, so God bless and safe travels.